All right, guys, so we are going to start. Thank you all of you for tuning in. Welcome. Hope you guys are having a great day. So before we begin, I'd like to mention a couple things. First off, we are going to have a Q&A session at the end. So during the presentation, if you have any questions, feel free to write them up in the chat and I'll gladly answer them if I can at the end. Also, we will be sending a recording of the webinar to you guys via email. And in that email, you will have the answers to all of the questions, the answers to the unanswered questions that we might not have had time to cover, and also a few links to knowledge-based articles that will be handy pertaining to the subject that we talked about today. If for any reason you don't receive the email or something happens, you can always find it in our knowledge base. So after every webinar, we have an article written up, a post-webinar roundup. And in that article, you will find the recording, the answer to the questions, and a few more helpful tips and tricks. So that being said, let's kick it off. So hello, everyone. My name is Tristan. I've been at Amelia now for over a year now on the customer care specialist team. So I might have spoken to a few of you in the past, and I'm really excited to be with you guys today. Thank you so much. Hopefully you guys are gonna learn a lot and make the configuration of your activities and your store a lot more efficient and quick with these tips that we're gonna look over today. So the goal of this webinar is really to simplify client navigation in your store and also facilitate administrative tasks on your end, all this to reduce client error during registration. So we really want to eradicate the situation where, for example, a mother is signing up their child to an activity, but by accident they register themselves to the activity. So there are ways to make sure that this doesn't happen, and we're going to talk about them today, for example. So the first thing we're going to look at is the store customization and design, then go over the activity setup, how to target the right clients, the status and secret links, how to properly manage a waitlist, few add-ons, and how to start a new season quickly and efficiently. So first off, the store customization. So this is really your chance to add your own style and your own flair to your actual Amilia store. So first off, you can go into the store tab, then under store settings in customize. Here you will see where you can customize your tabs. So for your activities, you can entitle it enroll or change it to anything else that you would like. Here's where you can make sure the tabs are visible or not. So for example, if your organization is not using the private lessons tab or the private lessons feature, sorry, you can uncheck that and it will no longer be visible in your store. So it will not cluster with too many tabs. It'll look like this on the client view. So they will see all of your tabs with all of the how you've named them and only the ones that you have chosen to be visible. Next up, the store background that is found in the same place. So store settings, customize. This is really where you can add your own personal touch. So put in a color, put in a background image, and really make your store your own if you want to follow your theme that you're working on. So it's important, however, to note that your background image must be at least 1,000 pixels wide and less than 1 megabyte in size. Next, the activity spots. So same thing, same page under store settings, customize. This is where you can set up how you want your clients to see the amount of spots remaining in a specific activity. So in the screenshot on the bottom, you can see all of the choices that you have. So never show, available or full, spots remaining in brackets, spots remaining over the total available, or spots remaining with a threshold. So this is the example that we put in the first screenshot. So for example, the maximum threshold here is 10. And if there were 12 spots remaining, it would show 10 plus, just like this little 4 plus right over here. Next up, a few checkout options that can be found under the account tab. So the shopping cart, you can set up the reservation time. So what this means is when a client puts an activity in their cart, they have the reservation time that starts, they have a little pop-up that appears, and the clock starts ticking down. That means that that is the time that they have to complete the purchase and the registration. And you can set this up for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, anywhere from 1 minute to 99 minutes. Note that the number is in minutes. And the client will have that spot reserved for them as long as the time is clicking down, and they can continue and complete their purchase. Next up, we're going to look at the notification. So by default, there is only the failed payments notifications that you can enter in your email, and anytime a failed payment happens, you will be notified via email. You can put multiple emails if you want and separate them by a semicolon, as it is depicted right over here. And this is really, really useful because as soon as a payment fails, you'll be notified and you'll be able to reach out to the client and start the course of action to get that payment. Next, you can also enable well, actually you have to ask support and we will happily enable this module for you. This is the checkout module. So every time somebody checks out, you can get a notification via email, same way with one email or multiple. Next up, we're going to look at how to create tags. So this is really for organizational purposes, as you can assign tags to activities, and then in your store, your clients can filter your activities with the tags that you have created. So how to create the tag, you go under Account, Tags, and Create a Tag. Here you can then create your tags, select to make them visible to clients or not, modify them, modify their position, so on and so forth. Now we're going to go over the activity setup. And starting off, we're going to show you how to associate a tag to an activity. So under the Edit tab, if you click on an activity, here you can select which tags are applicable to this specific activity. So in this example, the birthday party is happening in summer 2020. I can simply click it and it'll update. And how does this work in your store, basically? So myself, for example, this summer, I'm really trying to get ripped and get in shape. So I feel good when I'm chilling by the pool. So if I'm in your store and I click on more filters, I can select fitness, and then I'll see all of your fitness activities. So get ripped, pure cardio, or get ripped to the core, whatever I want. And this is really handy because if, for example, both of these activities were in separate programs, I would have to navigate through each program to try and find which activity I want to sign up for. However, with the tags, all of the tags that are associated to the activities, all of those activities will appear here in one place, and it's a lot easier for me to navigate in your store. Next up, we're going to look at registration periods and how to set them up. So in the Edit tab on the right of an activity, if you scroll down up to registration periods, click on Configure, you can add a registration period. And who can register to this activity? Two options, existing clients or everyone. So this is pretty nifty because you can select to create a registration period for existing clients beforehand. So kind of create a early bird registration for your recurring clients. And then you can create a second registration period for everyone, add a start date and end date, and everybody will be able to register during that period. You can add a third or fourth one if you want, and then remove them retroactively. Then you can click on Continue and Save. Next up, we are going to look at how to target clients and make sure that the correct clients are signing up to the appropriate classes. So we can do this through restrictions. Restrictions can be found in the additional settings along with all of the other things you can set up in the activity. And what kind of restrictions exist? So there are two. There are required age and required gender. Now, required age is really, really handy because you can put a maximum and a minimum. You can set it up in years or months, on the day of the activity, or on the following date. So for example, if there's a U14 soccer team and they have to be 14 on January 1st, you can set that up, and that's really handy. You can also select to require a gender if that's something you prefer, if that's something you need rather for that activity. We really, really recommend using restrictions because this is how you can avoid the example I gave previously where a mother registers themselves instead of their child. So you can put a required age. If it's a camp, you can just put 18 and under, and that'll save a lot of time and save a lot of errors that can happen on the client side and just make it easier for them to do the registration properly. Next up, we're going to look at status and secret links. So there are three statuses possible for your activities: normal, hidden, and canceled. The normal status is the one where it appears in your store normally as you would assume it works. Next, there's the hidden one. Hidden means that the activity does not appear in your store in your client view. However, in the back end, you will see here the activity still appears with the hidden emblem on the right, and yourself and your administrators will be able to go in and modify the activity if they want. Next, there's the canceled status, and it will gray out the activity like so, but it will still show up on your store, on your client view as grayed out and canceled, so that all of your clients know that this activity has been canceled. Quick note, if ever you decide to uncancel that activity for whatever reason, you can simply change the status back to hidden or normal, and if the registration period still applies, people will be able to register for that activity. Next, we're going to look at secret links. So there are 2 secret links available, one for each activity and one for programs specifically. Now, this is really useful because, for example, if the activity is hidden, but it is during a registration period, you can send the secret link off to clients that you want to register, and they will be able to register for that activity, even though it is not visible on your store. Same thing goes for programs. If you uncheck this and is not visible for clients on the store, you can send them the secret link, and they will be able to see all of the activities within that specific program. Next, we're going to look at how to properly manage waitlists, because there are a few features and we're going to go over them and see how you can take advantage of all of them. So first off, the waiting list feature can be found in the additional settings under the restrictions. And once you enable it, you will have 2 options, one to put yes and one to put yes automatic emails. The key difference between these 2 options is that yes automatic emails, as soon as a spot opens up on your activity, everybody on the waitlist will receive an automatic email letting them know that there is a spot available and that they can go in and register for it. It is on a first come, first serve basis. So the first person on the waitlist does not have an advantage over the second or the third person on the waitlist. They will all receive the email at the same time and first come, first serve to sign up. If that's not what you're looking for, you can select yes. So this is more of a hands-on approach. And then you can yourself manually send the emails. So how you can do that, if you want to email your waiting list but provide a custom email, you can go under the activities tab under registration, select the activity you wish to send an email to your waitlist, click on operations and send an email to people on the waitlist. This pop-up will appear, you can draft up your email, send it off, and everybody will receive that email on this waitlist. If that's not necessarily what you're looking for, you can also just go straight into your activity under the registration tab, click on the activity, then going to your waiting list, you will see the list of the people on your waiting list. You can select those that you wish to send an email, and then just click on this blue button, and a drafted email sent, drafted up by Amilia, sorry, that will be sent to let them know that there is a spot available and they can go sign up. If, for example, you want to make sure that somebody really gets that spot, you don't need to send an email, and what you can do is click on this blue pencil right here, and this will bring you to the store where you will be currently acting on behalf of said client, and you will be able to register them for them. So that way you can ensure that they have a place in the activity. Another nifty thing is if you go under the home tab, there's this dashboard where you will see the activities with open spots and have people on the wait list. So this is really handy if you have the yes option selected, and so you have to manually manage your wait lists. Here you can see which have a spot available and somebody on the wait list, so you can take advantage of all the free spots offered by your organization. Now let's look at a few add-ons. So how can you link memberships, subscriptions, and merchandise to your activity? So they're all found here under additional settings, and they're all quite similar. So how to configure them? Memberships, once you select this little box, it will enable it, and then you have to select if you want at least one of the memberships is required, or all of these selected memberships are required. So for example, if a club requires a club membership and a gym membership, they can select all the selected memberships are required, have both of those memberships selected, and during checkout, if the client does not have those memberships already, they will be forced to purchase them at the same time as the registration, otherwise they will not be able to register. Same thing goes for the subscriptions, it's very similar. So how many subscription plans are applicable to this activity? None, only one, or multiple, and then you can select how many subscriptions are applicable to that activity. Next up, merchandise is very, very handy if you want to link merchandise or suggest items as they're checking out. So for example, if it's for a soccer team, you can suggest the purchase of a ball. So if there is a ball or a gym bag in this case, if you check selected, as they are checking out, a prompt will appear suggesting them to purchase the ball if they want. You can also select a mandatory, so for the example of a uniform that's mandatory during purchase, you can check off mandatory, and by default, both suggested and mandatory will be checked off. So that is very normal if you see that. And as they're checking out, a pop-up will appear telling them that the mandatory purchase of a uniform must be done. So that is really, really useful in those circumstances. Now, let's show you guys how to start a new season in a quick and efficient manner. So this is really helpful when you have a new season. So for example, the 2020 summer program, but all of the activities are very similar to the 2019 summer program. So one quick way you can do is create a new program and then import all of your activities from a previous program into the new one. So the first step to do this is to first create the program. You can enter the name and make sure that the start date and end date are before and after the start and end date of the activities that will be inside of it. So you can go through all of these steps, enter in all of the important information, create your program, link the forms, a cancellation policy. There's the secret link I mentioned before. Once it is saved, it will appear under the Edit tab, and there you can either start from scratch and create activities on the right side, or you can click on Operations, Import Program, select the program you wish to import, and import all of the activities from that program into this newly created program. You might not want all of them, so what you can do is select those you do not want, click on Operations, and delete activities. Those activities will be deleted, and then you'll probably want to make a few changes, to your newly created activities. So you can select them, click on Operations, Mass Edit, and then edit anything you want from subcategory to merchandise, subscriptions, or memberships. So in this case, we're going to change the subcategory to Tristan's webinar, click on the check mark, and apply the changes. Once the changes are applied and that's loaded, you will see that all of the activities on the left that were selected will be changed to Tristan's webinar. So this is really, really handy when you have a program that has been created in the past and it's very similar. So you can import your programs and then make adjustments if needed. So that was all of the content for today. Now we're going to look at a few questions. So the first question, I'm trying to link a waitlist to an activity, but it's not working. So it's important to note that waitlists can only be used for session-based activities. So if it is a session-based activity, it will work. If it is only for drop-ins, it will not work. Next, can I link a subscription and a membership to the same activity? Yes, you can. You can link the membership and subscriptions and merchandise to the same activity. How is the cart reservation time calculated? So as mentioned before, it is in minutes from 1 to 99. Next question, can we receive an email notification when a payment is successful? The only notifications that you can receive are for failed payments and for checkouts. So there's no option to get notifications when payments are made successfully. Next up, we're going to look at the number of registrations is higher than the number of spots available for that class. How is this possible? For example, 12 out of 10, 12 registrations and only 10 spots. Well, actually, administrators can bypass most restrictions, including when an activity is full. So it's possible that the last 2 spots were registered by administrators. My activity status is set to normal, but I still can't see it in my client view. So you really have to make sure that both your activity status is set to normal and that your program is visible to clients. If your program is not visible, none of your activities will be visible, even if their status is set to normal. Next up, I want my clients to see all my activities and browse my store, but not register right now. How can I set that up? So what you can do is make everything visible, but set registration periods for a later date. So your clients will be able to navigate on your store, see what they can do, and then they will see when the registration dates are and when they will have to come back to register. When duplicating a program, other than the mass edit option, is there a fast way to change date and times of each one of the different activities? At the moment, scheduled and resources have to be changed individually. So earlier I mentioned that you can change everything. Actually, it's almost everything. The schedule and resources section of the Activities cannot be mass edited. They have to be changed individually. Let's see if there are any other questions. Can you get confirmation emails sent to an email address that isn't linked to an Amilia account? So yes, actually, any email can be added in that box. As long as there is a valid email address, you can send the confirmation emails as to that email address. Let's see if there are others. Let me see. So I think that's it for today. There doesn't seem to be any other questions. Oh, there's one right here, sorry. So can information entered in forms be displayed on the confirmation email? That is a very interesting question, but currently not at this time. So it cannot be shown on the confirmation email currently. We will look into that though. We also have our community page if any of you guys have ever looked at it. That's where people can enter in their ideas for improvements, and that's where our team goes to see which improvement requests or improvement suggestions rather have had the most upvotes. So that's a really cool place where you can put your improvements, and if it has the most upvotes, our team will strongly consider it as the next improvement. That seems to be all the questions we have for today. Thank you very much for attending. As I mentioned earlier, an email will be sent to you guys with the recording of this webinar, as well as the questions that I answered. And if there are any other unanswered questions, there will be a few links to knowledge base articles pertaining to what we talked about today. And you will get this email the next few days. If by any chance you do not receive the email or you can't find it, no worries, because we post a webinar roundup in our knowledge base where you can find the answers to the questions and the recording. So the knowledge base can be found under the home tab under knowledge base here, and you can navigate, search up webinar roundup activities, and you will find it right away. Otherwise, if you have any other questions, you can feel free to reach out to support. That's where I'm going right after this. So I might have the privilege to answer you guys, or one of my colleagues will gladly answer any of your questions. So you can do so by clicking here and send us a message. So thank you very much for your time, guys. I hope you learned a lot and enjoyed, and hopefully we'll see you next time we have a webinar. Have a great day, guys. Thank you very much.